Welcome back to Navy Sports Magazine. Time to shed the light on Navy men's lacrosse. Men's team off to a 2-0 start with Jeff Durden from the lacrosse hotbed of Georgia. How'd you get involved in the sport of lacrosse?
Well, just growing up playing football, and then my cousin actually started playing lacrosse, so I went to go see one of his games, and I just kind of fell in love with the sport.
Like the physicality of it, because there's some physicality elements just like football in it?
Of course.
Now, when you started, you told me they put you in between the pipes. It's the fastest way to get on the field because nobody wants to stand in front of a 100-mile-an-hour shot, except that didn't really go well, did it?
No, I actually scored on myself 2 times in a game. So, yeah.
That's a humbling experience.
It was.
But obviously, they then put your athleticism to good use. How did you then parlay that onto a Division I lacrosse roster?
I just kind of worked at it a lot. Just try to stay on the wall as much as I could. Drills, private lessons, just as much as I could.
I know you mentioned the wall. Wall ball has got to be one of the most popular things in terms of this sport. Is that one of the most basic things you can do, yet it's something that you can, as we see more often than not, passing and catching sometimes can be the most difficult thing in this sport. But is that just a very simple way? You can do something you can do all by yourself, just a real fundamental thing to stay sharp?
Oh, without a doubt. It's the easiest thing. You can just get yourself a ball and just go hit the wall for 30 minutes, and it makes a tremendous difference. 2-3 times a week, just 10, 15 minutes, make a world of difference.
You have played behind and seen some terrific guys at the position you're playing right now at long stick midi. You seem to be following in those same footsteps. What was it about those guys that you saw and obviously see fit to emulate, as they were terrific players themselves at the same position?
Yeah, obviously, Matt Reese.
Yep.
I think he's an unbelievable player. I watched him while I was at Naps in high school, growing up, watched him. And, I'm just trying to fill his shoes as best I can.
Obviously, everybody wants the kind of athlete Matt is, you are, at that position. But it carries a lot of responsibility. People think it's just a defensive position because you're holding a long pole. But you all and that athleticism have turned that into a big-time two-way performance here. Have you seen that position develop that way? Because we saw you the other night in fine fashion from Ryan Kerr, looking like Joe Montana with the long pass out there. Those kind of plays can be so uplifting for a team, can't they?
Oh, absolutely. They're huge momentum changers. And, I learned from Scott Ratliff, the pole at Loyola.
Mm-hmm.
He's taught me everything I know because he's also a Georgia guy, and he was big in transition. And especially with the shot clock now, it only plays into our favor, being a long pole midi.
I was going to say, too, we were just talking about this down the hall. In your first couple of games, you all had it obviously in the scrimmages and stuff, but in the first 2 games where you're playing for keeps, have you noticed any great differences, especially from a defensive standpoint, for your team defending an 80-second shot clock?
Personally, I like it a little bit better because teams can't stall us out, and we can get out and dictate the pace, and we can get hands on them and force them to do what we want.
You guys have a lot of very young elements on that defense in front of Ryan Kern. What kind of stabilizing factor is he back there in between the pipes? Because as we've seen through the first 2 games, it's been simply outstanding.
Yeah, he definitely is kind of our voice of reason. Like you said, we're really young, but he's always there, just kind of making sure we're squared away and we all know what we're doing and where to go, and he's definitely helped us.
I was going to say, through 2 games now, you guys have at least 4 guys you know of back on close defense that have shown the ability to play. But how hard is finding that cohesion? Because you guys are literally learning on the job as a unit back there. It goes obviously with you and Tim in that defensive midfielder's role, and obviously playing along with them. Is this simply something that's going to be a game by game, we get better, we watch the film, we get better type of thing as the season goes along?
Yeah, we're definitely getting better day by day. We're just trying to make those steps, watching film as much as we can, and it's just kind of hanging out in the locker room after, building that cohesion, like you said, that chemistry. It's definitely helping us. Big
week, obviously, a chance to really measure yourselves against a team that's obviously year in and year out, seemingly in the national championship game. How do you see you guys' confidence level as you go in against one of the nation's best this week?
Well, they definitely are top 3, without a doubt. They've always been. I think we can play really well against them. I think we match up pretty well. But I'm definitely excited to play them on Saturday. Can't wait.
This is a team that, they don't beat themselves very much.
No.
And at the same time, I don't know if you guys, does it force the other team to be that much better, knowing that they're not usually going to make a ton of mistakes in the game? Or do you block that kind of pressure out and just go out and play your game and do your thing and work on what you all do, as opposed to dictating or getting dictated to by what they do?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. They obviously don't make many mistakes a game, and I think we just have to limit those, because I think that is the only way that we're really going to give them a good run for their money, is if we just limit our mistakes and we just play to our game.
All right, now in a split second, Jeff Durden's got to go from defender to offensive player. What is that decision-making process like as you're running down the field with that long pole? Because we saw the other night, you scored. You also made a great decision passing to a teammate. Is that just something now that's come instinctive to you in transition in situations like that, where you got to have that head up? And I know the eyes get big that you want to score, but you also got to be looking around to see if somebody maybe has a better chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, definitely. It's just pretty much like, as soon as you get covered, try to find that open guy. And obviously, like, the guy slid up to me, I threw it to Nick Cole because he just had a better chance of scoring than I did. So, yeah.
And, of course, Ryan Kern was looking for the hockey assist on that one,
Of course,
wasn't
he was.
See? Hopefully he can keep threading the needle perfectly on those long outlet passes. Appreciate the time. Best of luck this week against the Terrapins.
Thank you.
All right, Maryland Terrapins and the Mids, 12 o'clock on Saturday at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium.